from here. Alright, but today we are getting straight into episode 47, like you know, of the Act of God's Captive, into Call of the Captives Diary, episode 47, written by your one and only author, Precious Chinwe Obialor-Ukazim. So let's just get straight to the point, alright? So Junior got home, dropped his bag in his room, and didn't even sit down. Pastor Peter had answered the door, but the house felt off, too quiet for him. Normally, Masnachi would already be in his doorway laughing, asking about his London trip with Pastor Walker and about Sarita and talking and laughing. But this evening, there was nothing like that, and he's very sure she's in her room. So Junior went looking for her. He stopped at her door and knocked. Uma, he asked, but there was no answer. Then he pushed the door open gently and entered, only to find her sitting on her bed with the lights low, just her bedside lamp on. Her knees were drawn to her chest with her phone in her hand and her eyes shiny, not from loud crying, just the kind that stays inside and hurts more, and Junior's heart squeezed. Uma, what's going on? He asked, but she didn't answer right away. David didn't call. She quietly whispered, and Junior blinked. Call for what? He asked, and she looked at him. Today is our birthday, Junior. It's my birthday. Her voice broke, and the word hit him, and he frowned slightly. Not a text, not a voice note, not even a missed call. She asked, looking down at her phone. I kept checking and I kept thinking, maybe he's busy, maybe later, but it's almost night. Her voice dropped. That's not like him, Junior said, and for a moment he didn't know what else to say. So he did what brothers do when words are too small. He put his arm around her, pulled her close, and she leaned into him. And that was when her tears finally came. It's okay. He patted her back. Did you try calling him? He asked, and she shook her head slowly. I didn't want to look desperate. She replied, and Junior shook his own head gently. Uma, this isn't about pride. David's your man, your husband to be, and there's nothing desperate about calling to check on him. He said, then paused. Look, I understand it's your special day, and he's supposed to have called, texted, or even showed up for you. But you and I know it's unlike David to miss even an ordinary day without calling you, let alone today. What if something is wrong with him? Junior said, and that was when worry crept in. Masnachi looked up at him. You think something happened? She asked, worries written in her eyes, but Junior shrugged softly. I don't know, but David doesn't just disappear. You're the last person he would want to hurt. He replied, then took her phone gently from her hand. Let's call him, just to be sure he's okay, he said, and she nodded, and Junior handed the phone back to her. Go on, he said, and she dialed his number. It rang once, twice, and for the third time, but there was no answer. Then she hung up and her eyes filled again. Junior exhaled slowly. Okay, maybe he's busy, or asleep, or without his phone, or in a place with no network. Let's not jump into the worst conclusion yet, he said, forcing a small smile. He put his arm around her again and pulled her gently to his side. You're too important to be forgotten. Uma, and if David hasn't called, there's a reason. Let's just wait and hope he's okay. He told her, and she leaned into him, not fully convinced but comforted, at least a little. Uma's Sinachi phone buzzed in her hand and she looked down. It's David, she said, having mixed feelings about taking the call, and Junior nodded gently. Pick it. He told her, and she swiped. Hello, she said calmly. Uma Sinachi. His voice came soft, too soft, and she swallowed. David, I've been waiting for your call, she said. I know, he replied, then went silent for a moment. I was with someone who was dying, he added quietly, and her brows put together. What? She asked. Who is that? She added, and David inhaled. My aunt, the one who raised me here in the US. he replied, and Uma snatched his breath caught. She collapsed last night and I rushed to the hospital early this morning. She didn't make it past noon. His voice thickened and Uma snatched closed her eyes. Oh, David, she sympathized with him. I wanted to call you, he continued, but I was the only one beside her bed, holding her hand, and I didn't have my phone with me, he said, then paused. She asked me about you, David said, and almost her tears started falling. She met her voice once she was visited. She met her once when she visited David's family in the US. David's voice cracked, and she told me, don't bring sorrow into her life. Be the man she can rest in. Uma Sinachi covered her mouth as she listened to David. Shortly after saying that to me, she died. And when she died, I just sat there. He exhaled slowly. I didn't want to speak to you while I was broken, not on your birthday. He explained, and there was a long pause. Then Uma Sinachi whispered, David, you could have told me. I know, he said, but I didn't want your birthday to carry sadness. I'm so sorry about your loss, David. She said, her tears dropped faster now. It's okay. How's your day going? It's been boring without you, she replied. I'm really sorry, and I promise I'll make it up to you. He told her, and she wiped her face. You already did by explaining things to me because I was really sad, she said, and Junior, who had been listening quietly, leaned close and said softly, Hey, lover girl, I'm hanging out with Sarita. She nodded slowly with a warm smile, her heart melting. And with that, he left the lovebirds to continue their conversation. Meanwhile, Sarita had gone to the roof stop to perfect her plans before going to pick Junior. The city was still busy below, but up on the rooftop, everything felt soft, expectant. Sarita walked around the space slowly, checking every detail light, candles, music, photos, tablet charged, and cake on ice. Good, she exhaled, feeling a bit nervous. As she tied the last string of fairy light, her fingers shook slightly. God, please let him feel what I feel, she prayed silently. Not about the effort she put into it, nor the planning, but the meaning. She stepped back and looked at the space, and she remembered the first day she met Junior and how he had spoken about God like someone who knew him, not just one who attended church. How he had playfully told her he was going to marry her, and how he had stayed with her. She picked up one of the photos, Junior at 16 with a serious face, and she smiled. She dropped it carefully and arranged the plates and cutlery, straightened the napkins, lit the candles, and the flame flickered just like her heart. She sat down for a moment, checked her phone, and it was 4:50 p.m. I need to be on my way now, she said as her chest tightened, not in fear but in anticipation. She closed her eyes, smiled to herself. If I never get anything else in this world, I'm grateful I get to love him like this, she thought to herself, smiling as she stepped out. Wow. So, Junior's birthday is definitely going to be awesome. All right.